This is Kirill Kaprizov, a player making headlines across the hockey world for rejecting the largest contract in NHL history. Kaprizov just rejected $128 million, a contract which would have had Kaprizov making $16 million a season for the next 8 years, taking the title from Leon Draisaitl for the richest player in the NHL by over $2 million a season. So the question lies, why did Kaprizov reject a contract of this magnitude? Kirill Kaprizov is the best player the Minnesota Wild's franchise has ever seen, and it isn't close. With 386 points in 319 games, Kaprizov holds the highest points per game average in Wild history. During his rookie season, Kaprizov became the first Wild player in their history to win a Calder Trophy before exploding for a franchise record 47 goals and 108 points, obliterating their previous franchise record by 23 points. In the calendar year of 2024 alone, Kaprizov scored 90 points in 56 games. That's a 62 goal, 132 point pace in a full 82 game season. Yet somehow to start this past season, Kaprizov's game hit an entirely different level. The first 16 games, 30 points, a 2 points per game average, 11 multi-point games, and 6 games with over 3 points. Before going down with an injury, Kaprizov scored 56 points in 41 games, or a 112 point pace over a full season. Kaprizov is doing all of this with no superstar line mates, running a one-man show in Minnesota. Losing Kaprizov would be impossible to come back from for the Minnesota Wild, but if $16 million a season isn't enough, is it even worth trying to re-sign him at that point? Sure, Kaprizov is an offensive force. Since 2020, Kaprizov ranks 10th in terms of points per game average and 3rd in terms of goals per game among all players. But for a player who's never won a single scoring title, let alone award since his rookie season, and never won a single playoff round, paying Kaprizov McDavid-esque money is simply not worth it. The most similar comparison to Kaprizov is David Pastrnak. Both are wingers, similar statistically offensively, and offensive drivers for their teams. Pastrnak signed for $11.25 million a season just 2 off seasons ago. Kaprizov just rejected $16 million, which is $5 million more than what Pastrnak would be making. Other contract comparables for Kaprizov include Mitch Marner and Mikko Rantanen, both wingers who signed for $12 million. After 5 seasons of utter failure in Minnesota, Kaprizov rejected this contract, making one of 2 things true. Either Kaprizov wants every last dollar he can get from the Wild, or he simply wants out of Minnesota for a win-now situation. In 5 seasons with the Wild, Kaprizov has just 25 playoff games under his belt, and Kaprizov is already 28 years old. While Minnesota has a multitude of young win-now pieces with upside such as Marco Rossi, Matt Boldy, Joel Eriksson Ek, Zeev Buium, Brock Faber, and Jesper Wallstedt, the Wild lack a franchise-defining superstar to pair with Kaprizov, a situation reminiscent to Artemi Panarin back in 2019 before he left the Blue Jackets in free agency. Destinations which make the most sense for Kaprizov include the LA Kings, joining a core of Adrian Kempe, Quinton Byfield, and Brandt Clark. Kaprizov heading to Chicago would also be very intriguing. Kaprizov times Bedard would be an electrifying duo added to a core of Frondell, Nazar, and Renzel. Another interesting team is the Tampa Bay Lightning. Teaming Kaprizov up with fellow countryman Nikita Kucherov would dominate the entire NHL, added to supplementary pieces like Braden Point, Brandon Hagel, Anthony Chiarelli, Victor Hedman, and Andrei Vasilevsky in between the pipes. If Kaprizov were to become available in the open market, the Montreal Canadiens, Dallas Stars, and San Jose Sharks would all be the perfect trade partners for the Wild. Montreal could offer up former first overall pick Yuri Slafkovsky, adding in David Reinbacher, and a bunch of draft capital added to these 2 young pieces. The Dallas Stars could offer up a 100-point superstar Jason Robertson for Kirill Kaprizov to try and get over the hump. Down in San Jose, the Sharks could make one of William Eklund or Michael Misa expendable to add a franchise-altering piece in Kaprizov to pair with Macklin Celebrini for the next decade. In my opinion, if Minnesota can't agree to terms on a contract by the end of this year with Kaprizov should be on the trading block. In a trade, not only does Minnesota recoup a bunch of assets instead of a repeat Marian Gaborik situation, but they also have a chance of landing a generational talent within the next 2 drafts in Gavin McKenna and Landon Dupont. Pairing a talent like McKenna with a trade piece like Michael Misa, adding to Matt Boldy, Marco Rossi, Joel Eriksson Ek, Brock Faber, Zeev Buyum, and Jesper Wallstedt would put the Wild in serious cup contention, and Kaprizov on the other hand puts a young team over the top, making this a win-win situation for both sides. With all this said, comment down below if you think Kaprizov is squeezing the Minnesota Wild for every single dollar, or if Kaprizov is actually considering leaving Minnesota and where you think he will end up. If you enjoyed, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.